Why hello, you people from Earth and outer space. It is I, Alexander from the universe. In this episode of Let's Rust, we'll watch the fight between variables and variable bindings. In the previous episodes of this series, we have used variables bindings or bindings to refer to those values, whereas we can set a name to a value. Now this is not completely correct, because when you start doing Rust, it'll all seem very confusing at first, so I've done my best to keep it at a nice level. But now we're actually going to talk about the difference between variables and variable bindings, because there is a difference. And whenever you create a let binding like so, and you bind it to say a name, let's bind two names at the same time, x and y, and they're going to have the values of 13 and 21. The variable binding is actually the let statement, whereas a statement in simple words is a piece of code. And this variable binding, this let statement here, this binds the x to 13 and the y to 21. So you might think, what's actually the variable piece of this? Well, the variables, that's x and y. These are variables. Even though there's a whole dome of weird let stuff, x and y are actually variables. What makes variable binding so special is that whenever you type in a let, you get the opportunity to fill this side of the equation in with a pattern that, with a little help from this pattern here, the variable binding will know what x is going to be bound to and y is going to be bound to. But x and y are both variables. The variable binding initializes variables. So whenever we type in, we do a print line here, and we do a little placeholder thing, we type in x, for example, we're actually using the x variable here that was created using the variable binding let. Now you could very well refer to this x as a binding, because in a way this is a binding, but it's actually a variable. Whilst calling it a binding technically is wrong, you won't be killed for it. And variables are names corresponding to a value. But variable bindings is what binds those variables' names to actual values. It's kind of like an initialization statement for those variables. Variable bindings create variables, everybody's happy, bam. Why goodbye, you people from Earth and outer space. Feel free to leave a comment saying something either hilarious or perhaps even a like. Until next time.